everybody, welcome to another Age of Grogu, and I've got Elijah with me today. Jason
Hey.
hopefully will be joining us momentarily, and Max is working. So, how's things going, Elijah? What's been up?
Keep myself busy,
That's
keeping
good.
things going. Work
Uh-huh.
has picked up a little bit, so,
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
you know, doing what I can.
Yeah. Same thing, same thing. I've been really busy recently, so I haven't had the chance to really check too much news. There isn't a lot of news this week. It's, again, really quiet. Um, uh, as Let me check and see some of the things that popped up this week. Well, actually, over the last 2 weeks. We weren't here 2 weeks ago. Looks like Barbie is returning to IMAX experience. It hasn't really left the theaters yet, but it's returning because they're actually adding a additional scene and a deleted scene in the end credits
Nice.
to try to get
I'm
an
sure
audience
people will
back
go
in.
back to go.
I'm sure they will. Yeah,
Yeah.
all the better for it. I think it's the most money-making film this year that's made
I
the
still
most
haven't
money.
seen it.
You still
I
haven't
guess
seen
I'll
it?
just keep waiting until it comes online.
Uh-huh.
But
Hey, Jason. How's it
What
going?
up?
Hey. So, yeah, we were just talking about Barbie here, that it's getting a end credit scene and a re-release in September on IMAX.
Oh man,
Um, I
milking
mean,
it.
they are milking it. They are definitely milking it. How you been, Jason? What's been going on?
Been good. I just
Yeah?
finished feeding Enzo.
Ah, fair enough. That's cool.
Yeah. Been good.
Hmm.
I finally watched The Flash.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't realize
uh
it's already out. Are your thoughts then? You haven't seen it yet.
You know what? Despite the bad graphics and everything, I could see what it was trying to do,
Yeah,
and I just wish it was well executed.
yeah, I agree.
It's not that bad.
No, it had its
It's just
moments,
like
but
ugly. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's really
yeah.
that's
ugly.
all.
Yeah, it had
But
its
but
moments,
the
but
concept and
mm,
stuff of
yeah,
like all of that could have been like, I don't know, if it was just like
yeah.
well executed and they had
Do
like
you think that's because
I
of
don't know.
direction or?
I think it was like crunch time because all the graphics are
Right.
horrible,
Hmm. They are. Yeah,
like really bad, and
yeah.
I just think they just ran out of time, or just
Yeah.
like,
Wait, they ran out of
well,
time. Oh, in
the
three
thing is,
years.
I just don't think they paid the graphics enough, or
Sure.
like that's an
Yeah.
issue. It's I don't know. It's a huge issue we're seeing a lot in like the
Mm.
superhero genre where
Yeah.
they probably had a bid out for who could do the graphics for this thing,
Yeah.
and they don't care about like quality, they just want it done.
Yeah.
And so someone probably just like bid really low, and that's what we got.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Could
Like
be.
no one's paying their graphic companies like or their or their VFX workers enough,
Yeah.
and
Well.
that's studios just bid for, they put the bid out,
Yeah.
and if there's a company who could do it for really cheap, they
Yeah.
probably just
They'll
go
go with
with
them.
them to save
Yeah.
money. And we
Yeah.
know what Warner Brothers been going through too, so
Sure. No,
that's
totally.
what I see happening.
Yeah. Well, it definitely didn't work in their favor, did it? So
Mm-mm.
it's really is about quality. If you're going to see feature films these days, it feels like quality of overall feels like it's the main thing.
Yeah, but like,
And
see,
mm,
with something like this, I could see them trying to just crank something out so they could just get like opening weekend money, you know?
possibly, but remember this should have been out 2.5 years ago, before 3 years ago with COVID and everything got pushed back. So they've had time, and I think almost three different showrunners over the course of that time who can sit back and go, listen, we've got to do something about this, or in this particular case, obviously just let it go, and they let it go.
See, I could see it sitting in storyboard form for at
Mhm.
least 2 years, or
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and so they just needed to wrap that part up.
Yeah.
And so like crunch time came around, it's like, all right, we got to finish
I
this
don't know. I mean,
roto graphics,
the reality is not none of us were there to know exactly what the process was, but the reality was it ended up by being a not great film, a great deal because of that.
Yeah.
I think it had some different pacing issues along the way. There was some stuff that really worked, and there's stuff that just didn't work for me. So,
Mhm.
but I'm glad you finally got the chance to see The Flash. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been watching anything, Elijah, recently? What's anything on TV or anything like that?
No, whatever. I canceled most of my streaming services
Right.
for the time being.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
Oh, sorry. No.
And I don't think I've picked up anything new. I just rewatching old, like I do, just rewatching old stuff.
Right.
I
Fair
can't
enough.
think of a new show I'm watching other than like Ahsoka and the ones that are
Mhm.
that we're watching together. So
Right. Right. Sorry, Jason, you were about to say
Oh, I watched One Piece,
One
and it's
Piece.
really good.
All right. One Piece is about what and what is it on?
It's based on the anime, the new live action thing on Netflix,
Oh, okay.
based on like the anime One Piece.
All right.
And yeah, I watched that. Me and Liz watched it, and
Cool.
yeah, we're obsessed.
That's cool.
I think that it was so. This is like, I don't know. Other than Alita,
Mhm.
I think this is one of the best adaptations to an anime I've seen since.
Really?
Actually, like manga to live action,
Right.
probably be like Alita.
Yeah.
Was it what's the one with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt?
Is that Oblivion? No.
No. What's that one?
Uh,
Repeat Dive.
Repeat. Yeah, repeat. It had
Or
many.
Edge
It had
of-
many titles.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. That's it. Yeah.
Well, I don't even remember.
But it
Yeah.
had many. Like, yeah, I couldn't figure out.
That was a manga,
Yeah.
and I think those two and One Piece are probably like the best
Hey there, Chris. How's
What
it going?
the best adaptations we've seen so far, and they did it right actually.
Yeah.
Like the actors who play the people,
Mhm.
they're the characters, are actual fans of the IP also.
Right. Yeah.
And they had like the creator involved with the series as well.
Okay.
So
All right.
that's probably why it had the same. It hit the right notes, and then
Cool.
it's like very character driven story.
Right.
So they really invested a lot in developing like the ensemble, and I think that it plays a huge part to like any adaptation if you're going to do like an anime, because that's
Right.
that's what all matters in it at the end of the day.
Right.
People
That's
fall in
cool.
love with the characters more than
Cool.
anything. So yeah, I recommend that. That's my this week's recommendation.
Cool.
Check out One
Nice.
Piece. You don't have to be a fan of the anime to like it. It's
Mhm.
good. It's
You're
good,
looking at me right there, aren't you, Jason?
No.
I know. I'll get around to watching it. I'll take about 10 reminders, but eventually I'll turn on.
Everyone is
A
a
show
crying every
and-
2 seconds. It's true.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
there's some crying though.
But
But it's good. How do I consider it? Pirate punk, I guess. If it's if you want to fit it in any genre.
That's cool.
Interesting. That's cool. That's cool. The only thing I checked out this week outside of Ahsoka, because I've been quite busy, they dropped Master and Student, or Master and Apprentice, a small documentary that went up this week. Basically, it's like 5 minutes long. It was really about the making of Ahsoka, and now that they've released, Anakin, spoilers for this week's Ahsoka, of course. Now that they've released an image of Anakin and all this, Annie. They kind of touched on the basics of Ahsoka and Anakin's kind of relationship and connection. But they could have done a whole lot better at editing something together, using a pile of animation stuff, going through just to catch people up who are not aware. They could have done such an incredible piece of work for people who normally don't feel. What the heck
Gigi,
is that?
It's,
Gigi's butt is in
Gigi
your
butthole.
is
Gigi's
in our
butthole.
face. Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Well, that's
Say
what
hello to my
so
little friend.
well, Gigi obviously watched it because she kind of gives an idea of what was happening there.
She's like a young Ahsoka. You know?
there you go.
Annoying as hell.
Fair enough. But they could have done that. They could have done this great little piece, dropped it on Disney Plus, because now that we're tied into this whole Anakin backstory with Ahsoka, and it's a pity that they didn't spend some time and effort just doing a small piece like that. They did a very small piece, but nothing. They could have done something better.
I'm sure you could find a better.
But it's worth the watch. It's worth the watch if you haven't seen.
I'm sure you could find a better fan edit out there that someone's put together.
No, there are people who put some really great stuff out there.
Some of the fan edits like kill compared to all the in studio stuff that they do, like little things they do on that type of stuff. Man, if you want to look for good content, the fan edits and stuff, it's pretty sick.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I'm
because it's made by people who feel the same way about it as you do.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Right.
no,
So like
totally.
they'll tug the same heartstrings that you got tugged when you
Oh,
were
totally.
watching it, and
Oh
so it's
yeah.
like a kind
The
of a collective emotion that gets
it's it
that gets produced from it,
It,
you know.
it does bring into question why studios don't look at some of these fan edit things and go, "Hey, this is a good person to do a documentary," and outsource that and have them
Figure
do
it.
it. Pay
Yeah.
pay them a little tiny measly bit of money and have them edit together all the footage and put something together that they could actually air officially on television. I mean,
They
if I
just
was in
don't
charge
see
of a
it.
studio, that's what I'd be doing to get in fresh and interesting content for creators.
I know. They should,
Yeah,
but then they don't.
I know. That's
And
that's the
why
problem.
is that? They could
Yeah.
probably just that it's not cost effective enough for them.
But it would be. That's the thing. They're paying one person or a handful of people just to put together the content on
If they were
something that could be shown worldwide.
if they were
And
smart,
yeah,
they should have like groups of researchers just going online, catching all that stuff, and then like gathering all of
but
it that
we
way. You
all
know,
know that studio producers are not that smart.
actually, when that's like with a lot of Marvel stuff, and I gotta say a lot of Star Wars stuff,
Yeah,
they do address a lot of the stuff and fan theories that are out there very
sure.
subtly, but you
Yeah.
can tell that they got someone doing the
Oh,
research.
you
You
meant
know.
with it. You meant within the episode of a show or a movie playing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can
Okay.
tell
No,
that
that
like
makes sense.
they've done their
Oh, they definitely
homework.
do. Dave Filoni and
Yeah.
John Favreau are very big sticklers about that. They do enjoy looking at
Stickler for
people's
stickler.
what people like, what people didn't like, but they're also directly in control of it. But the studio, when it comes to something that's not quite there, they
Gotta
have they have a
pass.
team, but they don't have a team that are passionate about that particular item. They're just told and paid.
Yeah, it
Enzo's lungs are
just
getting really loud.
Yeah. He's
just
at
looks
that
good.
at the screaming age.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude,
Religion.
it like rings my
Yeah.
eardrums, dude. They vibrate. It's
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
crazy.
it's
Uh-huh.
crazy that kids have to do that to to hear themselves. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he does it to like because you can feel his vocal cords like
Yeah. Yeah. Till he
charging, but
loses
like.
his voice.
But
Anyway,
yeah,
yeah.
what I was saying about that is that like there are probably a lot of great ideas that we would love
Hmm.
that don't make it past all like the final
Oh,
writing
sure.
steps.
Oh,
It's just
absolutely.
like they got this gauntlet of bureaucracy they got to make
Oh,
it
yeah.
through, and what
Totally.
you get at the
Totally.
end is kind of like a mass appeal piece that is not too,
Yeah.
I guess, headcanon for like
Yeah.
the true fans. You know,
Yeah. Absolutely.
watered down
Absolutely.
version of what could have been.
Oh no, yeah, I
Right.
completely agree. I completely agree. So there's been a lot of shows and movies that are getting pushed back that were originally airing this year into next year. Obviously, all the studios are afraid they're not going to have any content to drop next year. So some of the stuff scheduled for this year is getting pushed. One of them being Avatar: The Last Airbender is now coming out February of 2024. That was originally I thought was coming out earlier. I could be wrong on that one. We know that Dune was moved. I actually had images there. Where was it? Where did Dune go? Yeah, it's gone. Anyway, but Dune was scheduled to come out in November, and it's been pushed to next year, I believe now,
Hmm.
which is a bit of a disappointment because it's like, come on, I was really looking forward to seeing Dune this year.
I know why did that get pushed back. Is it because of the
Yeah.
strike or?
Oh, absolutely. Because the other one, of course, is Skeleton Crew, which is the other Star Wars show that was scheduled to drop by the end of this year. This would have been like a Book of Boba Fett, where it dropped in late December into January. But now this is going to be delayed to 2024, somewhere further down. Because they couldn't finish Andor in time. They had like about 2 or 3 weeks of shooting left to finish Andor, and then they had to stop because of the strike. So Andor's been like put on this weird hold. The Acolyte, I believe, did finish shooting, so they're probably good for that to drop in 2024. But there's all these shows that are, obviously there's a whole lot more out there. I think Stranger Things and all that have been well delayed. I think Stranger
Right.
Things may even be delayed into 2025 almost,
Oh wow.
which is
Oh
a
man,
which is a really long wait because I don't think they've really I don't think they shot too much of that either before they had to go on hold. But yeah, we're getting the studios trying to go into panic mode by delivering films and TV shows later into the next year rather than earlier or at the end of this year. And it's like, okay, that's how you guys are going to play it, huh? Hey, Yeah. Any thoughts?
That's like
I'm
that's
used to waiting a long time for Stranger Things. How long do we wait between
It's usually 2 years, I
each
think.
season? Is
Yeah,
it 2 years? I guess it's been
almost.
longer than that.
Maybe.
This was for one. Actually, back to One Piece, it actually beat Wednesday and Stranger Things as far as viewership counts
Oh,
go.
really?
oh
Oh, I
wow.
Yeah,
didn't know that. Oh, that's interesting.
it's like it set the new record on
That's
Netflix.
cool.
How long that has been out? It's still recent
Is it pretty
in the
recent?
first couple
Yeah,
weeks.
like a couple
Yeah.
weeks,
Yeah.
possibly. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to jump into a little bit of toy news before I jump into Ahsoka stuff, guys. Well, it's kind of Ahsoka related, but they're releasing the Black Series Sabine Wren helmet, which doesn't surprise me
Cool.
whatsoever. Coming out, I guess, sometime next year. Hasbro Pulse got all their funding for the Ghost. They got their funding for the additional targeted additions like the extra figures of Kanan, Ezra, and Zeb. This actually ended up by making 21,480 backers by the time they finished. Their target was originally 8,000 backers. So this ship is like the biggest Star Wars toy ever released in the 3 3/4 inch scale. And yes, I put it on my credit card. I've got a year to pay it off, but just before it comes in the mail. Well, actually, they took it out, but it's like I've got time to pay it off. But it comes out about a year from now. They're saying the fall of 2024. So I will definitely be doing an unboxing of the Ghost when that comes out.
Nice.
Dang, how much money did they get to back it total?
Okay. Total, if you had to wait a second, hang on. Let's do the math on this just for a second. If you ended up with
Damn.
21,480 times that by $500, yeah, that's $10,740,000 that they made just
Boom.
from that one backing. Yeah.
Profit.
Pre-order.
Chris has backed it. Yeah, you've backed it as well. Yeah, we've all. I think most of us wanted to back this one because the Ghost is amazing. It's a cool ship. Sorry, just to completely go on the total thing. And not that I'm into the 6 inch scale figures at all, but Hasbro dropped the images of the Ahsoka line coming out, which they're actually getting better with their detail the last couple of years. Because at one point their quality of the action figures, even in the 6 inch range, failed badly, and people were complaining. But now they've got quite the lineup. So,
I know with that series, I feel like the main focus was on like droids and stormtroopers because those are
yeah.
like the best out of all those series. But
Oh
then
yeah.
stormtroopers, you don't have the detail of their faces, you know.
Mm.
So they didn't really. I do like the articulation of that series though.
Yeah. Apparently the articulation in these guys, the 6 inch figures, are pretty good as well.
I like
But
those droids though, the assassin droids. Oh,
yeah, the assassin droids are good. Yeah, okay, I mean, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but that droid fight sequence between Hu Yang and the
and the
assassin
Rock'em
droids.
Sock'em.
Yeah,
Rock-
it was like
robot scene.
right out of Rock. What is it?
Rock'em Sock'em.
Yeah,
Robot.
Rock'em Sock'em. But there's also
Yeah.
another. What was the movie? The one with
Real Steel,
Real
Real
Steel.
Steel.
That's the one. Yeah, that's
which is the original Rock'em Sock'em.
Yeah.
And then you had
course.
Free Jack or what?
Yeah.
Free Jack, I think what they was called. Whatever the one with.
Robot Jocks.
Robot
Robot
Jocks.
Jocks.
Oh yeah, that's way back. Yeah, but
They didn't box though, right? They're just.
yeah. But Hu
But,
Yang, such a great droid. I love the droid so
I
much.
said that on a reaction. I was like, "Ooh, Rock'em Sock'em."
Oh, yeah, you did, didn't you? Yeah. It was definitely one of those moments.
He
But
could box. He could
well,
box.
they obviously they weren't afraid. Well, Dave Filoni was not afraid to kind of just do that. But I think it's the
No, you know
first
what?
time we've had a droid on droid fight that's that
Yeah, exactly.
like full on.
Yeah.
Hand-to-hand combat
Yeah.
droid fighting would look like
Mhm.
boxing, you know, because he had his guards up. Good form. Good form.
Well, I've got a feeling that with Shin and Balon, I think they're going to wait for that for the second half of the line there, Chris. I assume they'll be doing a lot more in connection with those characters.
I know, right? The best characters. they
I'm
don't
so
have
glad
in
that Shin
line, what the
survived.
hell?
I'm so glad that she was not killed off because I think there's been a lot of fan love for both Shin and
Dude,
Balon.
she is my favorite character on the show.
Yeah. And she hasn't said hardly anything, but man, she's like
That's probably why.
facial wise, she is so expressive and so just awesome. I guess at this point, I guess we'll just jump into Ahsoka. Let's go back because we're going to talk. We kind of missed last week, so we're going to talk about episode 3 and 4. First, Ahsoka did draw $14 million for the first episode, apparently, which is all the first 2 episodes views, which is good. Again, we can't compare it to other shows necessarily because we only have to go on relying on what studios tell us. Although this is actually one of the few times that a studio has actually told us what the opening days of views are like. So they're starting to realize that there is an awareness of the public want to know and kind of, want to know what is trending, what is watching, what is being watched, and if their favorite show means something. Because if the studios are going around saying we're #1 show, it's like, well, yeah, but you've got nothing to prove it. You haven't given us any numbers. I would like to see why those numbers exist or don't exist. It doesn't seem like it's a hard sell, except for the fact that the studios do want to hide that information.
They can be super detailed about it. They can have
the streamers and all that want to hide it because they don't want to have to pay residuals and stuff like that. And I think that's where that all came from. And the only reason. Wait, I just got to say this was the only reason I think Ahsoka ended up by dropping its. How many views it got on the opening day was because all the trouble that both Bob Chapek and Bob Iger, yes, thank you, have just recently got into with this streaming element, and there's something that they got into trouble with recently that goes back to Bob Chapek more so. But something happened where now it's important that they should be sharing numbers. And the same week that happened, they dropped the numbers of Ahsoka. And I thought, interesting. I wonder what's going on there.
I feel like most of the motivation to actually tell you how many streamers are watching is just to get more subscribers, I feel like.
Yeah, part of it. I think it's...
I mean, that's the only reason why they would care to anyways, right? But, like, if you're already, like, subscribed and, like, paying for it.
Right.
Like... The need to see the views, unless you're a fan already, you're gonna watch it, right? So how does that help us at all?
No. If you're a fan, you're gonna watch it. But I think both writers and actors have said we don't know. We're only trusting on what we're being told about viewership by the studios.
No, but that's what I mean.
So I agree with that. Yeah, that's a big thing.
See, as far as like Disney's main reason to be telling people how many viewers they're having is just to get more revenue,
Right.
Could be
like oh, we're getting this. You better sign up if you want to watch.
Well, that's the thing. But that's the thing. Any show could do that. Any show that's doing really well should be able to give the numbers and not be scared to give the numbers. And because of the streaming services, they really have not been upfront about it. And hopefully things will change where that's a big part of the upfrontness about shows.
You don't want to show off their wallet, It's like opening your wallet in public. You don't want to see how much money people.
Yeah.
You don't want everyone to see how much money you actually have. So
totally.
They have to keep it close to the chest when it comes to that. So that's why I mean, if they're willing to admit how many viewers are coming, but there's a reason they do that. Yeah. And that's for to get more subscribers to Disney.
Yeah. Well, they did drop a few new posters for Ahsoka. This is a new poster from, I guess, after episode 4. Again, we're going to be talking spoilers here into episode 3 and 4, but with Anakin in the background there.
We're mid-season. You could turn on the Anakin layer.
That's it. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Multiple character poster. We got one for Carson, and then we also got one for Jason Zendula. This is an interesting... Jason Sindula is an interesting situation. And you guys are semi-aware that back in the day, we had Jason Sindula pop up in a, less than 2-second scene at the end of Rebels. And it was kind of like this big shocker. Oh my God, Hera had a baby. And the baby was connected to the Jedi Master who moved on from Rebels.
It's like Freddie Prinze Jr.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
So different.
Well, the Jedi was human, and Ahsoka, and Hera is, of course,
Twi'lek.
Twi'lek. Thank you. Oh my God, mental
Brent?
blocks. I'm just seeing these mental blocks. Sorry. But so I guess they chose in the genes status of everything. He looks more.
You'd think he'd have little tiny little ones or something. Or
Dude, I know. I feel like his design. I feel like
design doesn't work.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like his design was rushed when they did that scene.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. Oh no,
like
I
they didn't
agree.
think
Yeah,
about it. It's like, all right, I don't know.
yeah,
We'll take this. You could probably, if you watch the series, you could probably see that model in the background. They just changed the
yeah,
color of his hair.
yeah. No,
Probably just some random kid from another town who's like, oh, we need
yeah.
a model. Just throw it in there,
Exactly. No,
and then we build
absolutely. Yeah,
this.
yeah. There was definitely, but
Because
it's
I think
crazy
that'd be a
that.
lot more interesting to play with like half Twi'lek, half human,
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so too.
like
Yeah,
more of a
yeah,
hybrid. It's like
yeah,
the
instead of just green
yeah.
hair, dude.
But at
yeah.
the and we also don't know if that green hair is generic. I mean, genetic. I mean, he could very well be just dyed to be kind of
He's going through his punk rock phase.
he's going through his punk rock phase,
No,
and
it
his
was the
mom is
one
green and
thing that they
all
could
that.
do to the model
Sure.
that they could
Yeah.
Oh
connect
no,
it to
I
her.
agree. I agree.
Yeah.
That's
But
the fact. Like we
but
could guarantee that.
but
There's like the
what?
one thing they could change. You know, it's like
Yeah,
when you
no,
change a
totally.
when you
That's an
change
easy
like a
change.
character sprite
Yeah,
and save money, you say change the color on something.
yeah.
And
But
Brent,
That
you were
was
saying
all they
that
had
was the
time
only
to.
time that it was shown in that one animated clip, or did he have
that's
like a
it.
bigger part?
No, that was it. That was literally
That's
it.
It
so
was like
easy.
that
They
was
could have
it.
changed
But
it for this. They didn't have to
oh
give
no,
him hair.
they could
It
have.
looks weird.
But the idea behind that, again, what Rebels finished about 5 years ago, and when you've got this kind of build up
That
of like
hanging.
that hanging, and it was very controversial. It's been kind of almost a meme back and forth for years,
Oh,
but it was kind of cool within the Star Wars world, that is. But it was kind of cool to see that they actually ended up with a kid that looks halfway decent and actually can act. This kid's been I checked up his IMDb page, and it's like he's done a lot of stuff in his young age. So it's cool to see that they've kind of improved upon what they kind of left off where
Well,
was
they made
was
their
weird.
bed and they had to
Yeah,
stick with that character
yeah.
because
absolutely.
that was what
Oh,
they
sure.
established. So they're
Yeah.
making the best out of it.
Oh, absolutely. And at the same time, it's like at this point we've seen minimal of Jason Sindulo. He's obviously going to have force skills like his father. I think one of the best moments when I rewatched the episode again of episode 4, he kind of says, "I have a bad feeling," and it wasn't just like the gag of "I have a bad feeling about this." It was like he just
He's
awoken to the force.
force-sensitive.
Yeah, but it wasn't just saying he's force sensitive either. You could see the kid's face just like awaken, like there was something really bad about to happen, and he could sense it, and he didn't understand that feeling. And if you look at Hera looking at him, she's like, "Oh, wow, this has just opened up that door now." And it was like this moment of, and it was all within looks. And I think Dave Filoni nailed, or actually, Peter Ramsey directed this episode, but he nailed the element of like this kid has just become aware that he's force sensitive, probably for the first time, and I think that's a cool part to play on in the future of this series. Which is, again, the show's about kids, so the fact that there's a child that's force sensitive is very appealing to other children.
yeah. I guess.
And I, I know, Elijah can roll his eyes, but at the same time, it is very appealing. I think it's a cool thing. Other stuff, we talked about this before, but this is back in episode 3 again. Senator Ziono, who we see here was a bit of a douchebag, actually was seen in Star Wars Resistance at one point in time. His son Kaz was a lead character in the show, so it's interesting that they've tied in the character into live action. It was just a nice little pull in.
It's like I feel like every time we see the New Republic, they have to prove that it kind of sucks.
Well, yeah,
Because, because the First Order is gonna eventually come,
Right.
It's guaranteed.
yeah,
So they can't have it functioning too well.
no,
There's
but
always they always got to show the gaps.
yeah. The cool
life.
thing about this is that the character of Kaz he separated himself from his father because his father was basically
His father
Like,
sucks.
his father sucks. We can see why he's such a dick. I'm going to straight out call him. He's a dick of a character. Sorry, dick of a person, I should say, not character. But he obviously, this kid is like growing up in a Republican world and wants to join the rebellion kind of thing, and he ends up by joining the New Republic. Meets up with Poe Dameron and becomes a New Republic.
You could
kind
say
of
it
thing.
skips a generation.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, so it is interesting to see that they play with that, and it does on the overall helping of how the Republic kind of are just not where they
Sucks.
should be and sucks. And we saw it from episode 2, when Hera goes off to the shipyards with Ahsoka
We see it in
and
Mandalorian too.
yeah, well, yeah, and I'm glad that
That's what
they're
I mean.
playing
Like
through.
every time they show the New Republic, they have to
Yeah.
be like inadequate. I'm like,
Sure.
what they're doing, they gotta suck.
Yeah, but that's people.
Just to make sense of like, oh yeah, First Order. Yeah, that
That's
makes sense.
basically exactly that's where I was going. Yeah, yeah, and hopefully it won't be all like that because obviously Mon Mothma is fighting a losing battle, but I'll be happy to know where Leia and Han are and all this in the story.
Well, it's kind of like the way they treat Darth Vader, right? Like
Mm.
he has to lose somehow, but it's never his fault. It's like Mon
Correct,
Mothma,
yeah,
like the
yeah.
New Republic.
Yeah.
She's very capable,
Yeah,
and she's helped
Yeah.
start the whole rebellion.
yeah,
But it's not her fault that it all fell apart,
Correct.
and they have
Exactly,
to make sure
yeah.
they establish that
Yeah.
she's still fighting, she's still decent.
but isn't
But
that
it's the
isn't
people
that
who are in the council who made it suck.
But isn't that an imitation on life anyway? You've got all these film studios, and yet by the time you put all these heads together, somehow they make something suck usually more than they make something successful. And you've got
No, and
one
just say
person with
just
the
the-
idea that's really good, and that idea gets ripped to shreds by
I
the
wouldn't
time it
say
gets
just
to
the
the finished
movies, like
Well, no, not just movies. That movies is my starting point. But I'm saying anything in general. A council meeting for a piece of artwork in a shopping mall or in
Yeah,
wherever. Anything.
Well, when you're the only strong link
Mm-hmm.
and everyone else is a weak link,
That's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's just not going to work.
Yeah. Nah, it's crazy. But so it's not that hard to believe then that Mon Mothma would be the one with the shining light, battling against a group of people who are
Well, she's been,
bureaucrats.
she's established as a badass from the
Sure.
very beginning.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
They don't want to taint that.
all the way back from Return of the Jedi. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't want to tarnish that,
No,
that character
absolutely.
because she's so cool.
Hey there, Malloy. How you doing?
Yo,
Yeah, Skitty. Yeah. Councilman was not skateboarding a daughter designer. Like, oh really? Yeah, I don't know about that. What happened? Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
that's it. No, that's exactly it though. It happens all the time. So the fact it happens on that level in the Star Wars universe is
And it's like
kind
the
of cool.
worst. It's like the
Yeah.
worst skate park.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. But it's also cool to see that fight and that battle, and that's some of the backstory we never got, obviously, from the First Order. So it's good that they've got this time to kind of hand feed us these little moments in passages of time where things do get and become that bad that they let the First Order slip through their fingers.
It's part of the Star Wars show bingo card.
Sure.
Like, show how incapable the
Yeah.
New Republic is. That's the
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
So.
Also, episode 3? We had a cool little space moment with Ahsoka and her spacesuit. I think it looks kind of a little weird, personally. Especially her LeCue, the earpieces.
Yeah.
But then I
It's working
compare
for
it. I need to show you something because I got to compare this. Ahsoka goes and jumps in outer space in one of the episodes of Clone Wars. They put her in a spacesuit, put her in a whole thing. And that's what she looks like.
That's funny.
Which,
Ugly.
Yeah, I know. So-
ugly.
so it is kind
Just
of
like, what are we gonna do?
weird.
A helmet on
Yeah,
it, or a bubble,
yeah.
a classic
So-
space bubble head.
So after going, and they even made the action figure of it too. But going back, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Maybe that's not so bad after.
Yeah,
all.
that's way better.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean-
she had to have it custom made for her.
Well, that's the thing. I kind of did. I had to see for myself how this would look if you actually put something on her head. I kind of did that. It's like, nah, it just wouldn't work.
Oh God, Brent.
I don't know. I was just playing. But anyway, yeah. so-
She. I guess she's using the Force out there because, like,
Oh yeah.
she's jumping, but then she's still staying on the ship. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it
she'd
was.
have
it
to
was-
be using the Force because that's not how zero gravity works. Unless there's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
magnets on her boots.
There's magnets on the boots when she landed. When she came
Yeah.
back in and landed, it was
But to
magnets on
jump
the
an
boots.
arc in space like that,
Yeah, well, you have to turn your magnet boots
Just
off to
turn them
actually
on,
do that.
turn them off, like just
Well, I think that's just momentum kind of
I
thing.
think it'd be easier for her to use the force.
Now, that was one thing I did see. Somebody sped up the frame rate to the animation frame rate of how they was in the animation. No matter what they do, things are much faster. People move much faster in forms of fight sequences and battle sequences. And it was interesting to see that the frame rate looked like Clone Wars frame rate, but it also kind of looked a little unnatural for live action when they moved the live action stuff at Clone Wars frame rate, which is, as I said, a little bit faster than normal, than what we saw on the film. So they had to slow themselves down to say what is physically possible for that little sequence where she flips, then pulls out her sabers and fights.
right.
Which was interesting. And again, we're just going to go into the Purgle, but there was some cool live action stuff for the Purgle there too.
I have a question about the Purgle.
Mm-hmm.
What do they eat?
Okay, that's answered in Star Wars Rebels. Basically, there was a space
Like gamma
mine.
radiation or something?
No, there was a space mine that a mining settlement that was taken over by smugglers or whatever. I can't remember what they were. The mining guild or something like that. And the Purgle would go there to eat the gases in the actual mine, and that's where they were mining. They were blasting the Purgle away because they didn't want the Purgle
So they eat
getting
gas.
they eat gas more or less.
Gas
Is the best way to put it. And of course, that fuels them up enough so they can hyperspace themselves to the far ends of the galaxy.
I really like the concept of like alien creatures eating stuff that we wouldn't consider nourishment.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah,
Right.
like a babblefish, for instance.
right.
They eat brain waves, like
Yeah,
from Hitchhiker's Guide. Like
yeah.
it's like they eat something that doesn't
totally.
really exist, you know,
Yeah.
but it's like a form of nourishment for them, and they excrete like translations.
Yeah,
So that's the way I look at it.
yeah.
Anchorman brought up the whole.
Right.
There was a huge argument during like the first week of
here we go.
Ahsoka. Of,
The
people
stab.
getting stabbed. And how
Stab.
stabs don't matter anymore in the new Disney shows.
Yep, you're right. It seems like everybody who gets stabbed is getting stabbed in the right place, not to kill them. Technically, with the lightsaber, if you stab them, you just go left or right, and you
Well, how many
totally
times was
but it doesn't stop them all from
guess?
dying. Huh?
Obi-Wan, the Inquisitor, Pumpkinhead Inquisitor got stabbed.
Darth Vader got cut in half and still survived.
Yeah.
Darth Maul, you mean?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
But like, no, I think it's
Darth Maul.
it's the I mean, he was implied dead when they released like Phantom
Oh,
Menace,
sure.
right? They just retconned that
Absolutely.
later on because he's cool.
Oh, they wreck. Yeah.
But
they-
like
Yeah.
but I'm talking about like just in the Disney shows,
Uh-huh.
the trend of getting stabbed and surviving has like ramped
Yeah.
up. Like what have we got? Riva, is that her name?
Reva, which is an interesting one. Yeah, Reva, she got stabbed twice by Vader.
Yeah, she got stabbed as a child.
In the same place. In the same place. Now, part of that could be explained that it was
The will
younglings.
to live.
No.
Which the Inquisitor said himself, which was very heavy-handed.
Yeah, I know.
And now it's kind of dumb,
yeah,
and that doesn't
yeah.
help anything.
Right, but as a child though, there was
You're
this
saying
thing
the
of
green
searching
bones?
for.
Yeah.
No, there was this thing about searching for Inquisitors, and the fact is that Vader went and killed every child, then there'd be no Inquisitors. A lot of the
So
actual
you didn't kill her
Jedi
on purpose.
Yeah, some of those Inquisitors are
Bullshit.
children, as
Nah,
Reva was,
that's-
that were taking
that's-
it. So there was the thing is, if you live through this stab, then the good chance we'll find you and we'll bring you in and we'll make
That's
you
a
an
lot
Inquisitor.
of that's a lot of assuming right there.
I don't know.
That is
I mean,
too much to assume.
Yeah. And I feel like when Vader stabbed her at the end, it was also not to kill her because Vader could have killed her in a heartbeat, but it was a lesson to be learned.
Yeah. See, now
And we still
the whole
kind of
fact that
do-
we have to explain it like this is not good. Like that's still a flaw.
No,
I
but-
see,
but-
you know, like that is a reach,
His
and
it,
that doesn't
well,
help anything.
Is it
really.
a reach, or is it that George Lucas and Dave Filoni always left it up to people's interpretation of things without always defining every single answer. They basically
So you're gifting
No.
this to subtlety?
No,
and
I'm gifting this to
storytelling, Brent?
subtlety. I'm totally
No,
gifting it to subtlety and
they used
storytelling.
to do it way better
Yeah.
before. This is just
Yeah.
a bad example of
See-
that same
See,
thing.
I'm going to go on with Sabine and Shin. Why Shin
I'm
didn't
gonna
kill
say-
Sabine outright? I got a
No.
feeling that this got something to do with Balin's, his.
Brent, it's simpler than that. It's
Yeah.
called plot armor.
It's plot armor, sure, yes.
That's all it is.
That's fine. But in this case, in Shin and Balin's case, I got a feeling that they're just not all outright murderers. They will
I
defend
wish.
themselves, and
Dude, they're not all out murderers.
but they're
What
also
did they do
not.
the first
They're
scene
not.
that
They're not Sith. They're not Inquisitors, and they're not Jedi.
Tell me, what did they do the moment they were introduced to the show? They got a huge body count.
Okay,
How many
wait.
people did they kill?
Not murderers to other Jedi, because Balin already explained that
You know
he
what
has a
would have
certain
been better?
respect for Ahsoka, that it would be a pity if he had to kill her.
You know what would have been way better
what's
is if Shin cut off one of Sabine's arms. That would have been cool.
I'm sure, yes.
That would have been way better.
That badass. Yeah, cut her arm
Yeah,
off.
she
Cut her
got
hand
like a
off.
robot arm.
Yeah,
dude?
robot
Cut
arm.
a hand,
Yeah.
cut an arm. That makes more sense than
Hell
stabbing.
yeah,
Like,
dude. I mean, it would
Okay.
disarm her, and she wouldn't
No,
be able
you're
to fight
right.
anymore.
You're right. That's
Because that is Star Wars tradition.
Yeah, losing limbs. Absolutely.
And
I
if
agree.
Vader doesn't want to kill you, he'll just cut off your arm.
Yeah.
Instead of having to try to find that one little square of space in your abdomen that you can stab and still survive.
There's a choice, whether it's Sith or whether it's Jedi. There's a choice not to kill somebody at that point. It's either for a lesson or it is because you are a Jedi and you don't want to.
Oh yeah, they got an M count, so I won't kill them.
I don't know. Okay, fine.
See,
Jason,
you need to
fine. You want me to say
explain
it
too
is
much.
plot? You say it's plot armor. It's plot armor. Okay.
That's what it is. There's nothing more to it. You could
Uh-huh,
try to say,
uh-huh,
you could try to make
Sure.
sense of it, but
Sure.
that is it.
Sure. Either way, the rematch fight between Shin and Sabine was actually better. I thought it was a
Let me
better
just say, I'm
choreographed
glad
fight.
Sabine didn't die. Like, I
Yeah,
don't want
I'm
her to
glad
die.
Shin didn't die either. I mean, that
Insane,
would have
yeah.
been just a tragedy.
But what's his name died?
yeah.
The Inquisitor.
Oh, okay. So Marok. Oh yes, Marok. Yes.
And so this brings. I want to say something. This
Sure.
has been on my mind ever since the show started.
Yep.
Is that Dave Filoni isn't one to really exercise subtlety when it comes to reference to the samurai and the main inspirations for Star Wars. I think they've been very heavy-handed on connecting it to any Kurosawa stuff or samurai culture.
Yeah.
To the point where it's pretty much just samurais in space.
Yeah.
Everything from Balon and Shin's garb are total Japanese fabric.
Sure.
Look like samurai under what they wear underneath their armor.
Yeah. Edging towards knighthood kind of armor too. There is a
there's that too, because after she takes off her cloak, she does have that Joan of Arc look, which is dope.
Before you go any further, though, someone noted online this past week that there's also, because they were from the Clone Wars era, their armor is representation of the Clone Trooper armor too, even though it is a different type of armor. So I thought that was an interesting.
Balon's shoulder pad looks like a kind of a hammered version of a Stormtrooper armor.
Yeah. Well, Clone Trooper technically, they're slightly different.
Yeah. They're the same.
But
hey, not only that, but let's see. So everything down to that, everything down to the wooden sabers that they were training with looked exactly like the practice things.
I don't know if I've seen a few people who are just clueless about.
I'm leading to that. That's the cherry on top.
Yes. Yeah.
But another reference is when Sabine was training.
Yeah.
The holographic things the targets that she was hitting that Xiao Wang was holding.
Yes. Yep.
They look like the bamboo thickets that you would test your blade with when you slice.
Right.
They look exactly like that.
Oh no, totally. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And everything down to their sake glasses that they were drinking from.
Yeah.
Right.
Which actually, Liz hung out with the prop master recently.
Oh wow.
They invited her out to hang out with some of the old art department, and he made those. That was his personal ceramic.
No way. Oh wow.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
But
That's cool.
I want to lead the Maroc, dude. That
Yeah.
was just like a
Moral.
total like reference. The way he dies,
Yeah.
spoilers.
Hmm.
Like you don't get to do the real samurai stuff of like slicing someone and watching blood gush out of them, which is a trope in samurai movies.
Sure. Yeah.
Like when they do like the dash, and then like all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's like just blood like shooting out
There
of
we
them.
go. Yeah.
That was a direct reference to an Akira Kurosawa fight,
Hmm.
dude.
Yeah.
Like there's a fight between two samurais and like one of them gets killed and then all of
Right.
a sudden just like blood gushing
Right.
out. And so like I like that they were able to portray that imagery in
Oh,
Star
yeah.
Wars somehow
Yeah.
without it being ultra violent and it just being magic.
Well, going to the animation, this goes back to the Clone Wars. There was an episode where Count Dooku ends up by being attacked by the Night Sisters, so he fights back and he goes to their world and more or less wipes them out. And the Night Sister Mother Talzin raises from the dead all the armies of the Night Sisters from the past. So they all are infused with this green smoke. And so when they are killed off, each of them release the green smoke and they are they are not animated anymore. They basically get a one life revamp and they get killed off again. We also saw Sarge Press, which is Darth Maul's brother, another side story altogether, but he also was killed. He was given enhanced powers as well by the Night Sisters, green magic, and when he is eventually killed off in the Clone Wars, he is released the same gas. So we do see it. But when the Night Sisters die, and we see this from Marok, you actually see the gas come out, but his physical form distorts and cracks and breaks.
Yeah, I saw
backwards.
that. I
And
didn't
if you
know
have
what
a
that was
look,
going on with that.
it's
So
just
this is a reference to
Yeah.
Sauron
Yeah.
and Return of the King.
Right.
He
So
gets stabbed in the
ultimately,
face.
that kind of tells me that kind of gives me the impression, and this is where I go back to between Lucas and Dave Filoni, the idea of kind of giving an impression, not defining an answer, but giving a kind of, it's up to the audience's guess as to what happened. I think that Marok, who was a inquisitor, was killed at some point in the past and was resurrected by Morgan Elsbeth to actually become that
Submarines,
entity
too.
in that form. And of course, when it was killed again, he was always dead, basically. So we never actually had an Inquisitor survive into this far in. The
Right.
Inquisitor probably died a long time ago. There's a good chance that he was brought back. They found the body and they said, let's bring this guy up. And so,
It reminds me of the anime Full Metal Alchemist. Like
Yeah.
they're able to transfer someone's soul into like a
Right.
say a body armor, and then they're functioning in that body armor. But if you were to kill that
Yeah.
like the seal that they
Yeah.
printed inside the armor, then
Mhm.
they're just like
Well,
done. So that's all I could think of when I saw him like
Rebels
melt away.
Rebels did do that with us both. Rebels did that with Kanan Jarrus and Sabine Wren, and they had an encounter with the Night Sisters themselves, well, entities of the ghosts of the Night Sisters, and they were possessed by the Night Sisters for a period of time, which is also interesting because a lot of Sabine Wren's choices have been very dark in this episode, and so when I question that, people say she's heading towards the dark side of the Force, and she very well may be, because she's making all these selfish choices, and which is an easy path to the dark side. But there's also this element. She's also been attacked. She's been attached to the Night Sisters in the past too. So there's this whole element of like, is there a residue or leftover effect from that in Sabine Wren and her lifestyle?
Her main motivation that Balon used was to see Ezra again.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Which is definitely a Sith element of
And it's not like Ahsoka was really offering her anything either to
Yeah.
give her some motivation.
Yeah.
So I don't blame Sabine for her decisions.
Yeah. No, I agree. Sorry, guys, I'm missing out on chat here. Yes, yes, it was a good fight. I really liked it.
Yeah, that was awesome. I like
that.
that Shin did reveal her like armor on her arms. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Seeing her just like lose the cloak.
Yeah.
And that outfit's sick.
Right. Oh yeah, no, totally. Yeah. And then we jump forward and we end up by having this really cool fight between Balon and Ahsoka. Let me just say again, what a loss with Ray Stevenson, because this character is like, I think, one of the highlights of his life, and he's an amazing actor. If you've ever seen any of his work, he played. I saw him in the series. What was it? Pirate Ships. It was all about. Oh God, I forgot the name of the series. But he played Blackbeard in one of these pirate shows, and he was amazing in that role.
He's played Frank Castle. He's played Volstagg.
Yeah, he's done a ton of stuff, and one of the highlights he said in interviews when he was around was that this was one of his moments of like he was so proud to be in Star Wars and playing this character, and every move, every decision, every word that he says has such impact on.
I could see it in his acting for sure.
Yeah,
It seems
absolutely.
like he's more in it than some of the other actors.
I agree. I do agree. This is
And it's
element of
sad
pure
that someone
focus.
loses, just before a big role. I mean, it happens a lot, but like just before some new thing that could have taken their career to different.
I know, right? Despite on how stoic he is, he's still portraying a lot more emotions than Ahsoka is.
Right.
Yeah, which is I think we'll get to that little part at the end in just a few minutes. But
do you have a reason to explain why she's so deadpan,
Oh,
Brent?
absolutely, absolutely.
He's got something to back up everything.
No, this I do know. Anyway,
There's no excuse to be boring.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's get into this now. I've got a few other areas I wanted to hit over, but okay. She's been deadpan, and I'm going to say this. I've said it before. She is like the master who's got to the height of their experience. She had this normal birth, but she had a very unusual death in the Clone Wars that was brought back at that point in time. And at that point on, she was something different. And I always felt that from that character, from that moment. So I always felt that her death would have a very unusual, not Jedi way, which is either you die and you move on, or you die and you become a Force ghost. And we've seen that. And I felt like Ahsoka's going to be something different. And it feels like this is the path they're taking her. She has got so high up with her skills that she doesn't need to react. She doesn't need to have, she doesn't, it's, you see it.
All right, I'm going to say she's not high enough because she still got her ass kicked by Balon.
But also, when you go back and look at the episode, she knew she was about to die at the beginning of that episode. She's outside staring off. Remember that comment when you said Ahsoka's out there staring endlessly in
I said,
the forest?
Where's this? No, I said, I'm going to say it like this.
Yeah.
I said it like, where's Ahsoka? And I was like, she's probably outside being boring.
Boring. And she was, and that was funny. But she was also like insight. There was something happening.
This
she was aware.
This is so much assumptions, man.
No way. She was absolutely. Kanan had the same situation happen at the end of Rebels when going through an experience there, and it was the exact same element of what was going on. It's like, she's aware of something. So she's got to this point that she's so skilled. What do you do when you can't be any more skilled? You move on to a different level. You become boring and stoic.
You pop a bunch of Xanax before each episode, and it's just
that moment when you saw Anakin at the end and she turned around and smiled back at him. We haven't seen a smile like that from Ahsoka throughout the show. Like, even all the way through from the Mandalorian stuff, we haven't seen Ahsoka as she was when she was younger, when she was in the Clone Wars or in Rebels, where she would have a smirk on the face or was happy to see somebody.
It's like Frodo. It's like Frodo at the end of Return of the King. You never really see him smile. It's like fake smiles.
Yeah, that's it. That's the perfect example right there. Yeah. That is a perfect. Frodo is the perfect example. She's gone through a journey. She's gone through the journey, and now nothing appeases her of this level, and it feels like that this journey for her was coming to an end, and it came to an end, but she
With
ends up
one
in the world
smile
between.
when she sees her old master.
And the moment she's
murdered
in
a
the
bunch
world
of
between,
younglings and everybody.
well,
is like
yes,
a
okay,
terrible
Yeah, I
person.
mean, I hear what you're saying, Brent, but
same
it still
smile,
doesn't.
same smile.
It still doesn't pay off the fact that she's so deadpan.
Sure.
It's not earned. It doesn't feel as earned, like that smile that. I mean, I'm sure, yeah, if you really look into it, you could explain it, but I don't know. It's just not working for me.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they could have.
You would have preferred. Well, look at Luke Skywalker.
I feel like they could have explained a little bit more.
Right.
You know, like at least like reference to it instead of just have to assume that, oh yeah, she's been through so much.
Look back at the Clone Wars when you consider someone like Mace Windu. Mace Windu was very stoic and he would never raise his voice. He would never really smile.
Yeah, but I know
all the Jedi hit this thing. Luke Skywalker by Return of the Jedi. I mean, did Luke really truly ever smile by the end of that film? I mean.
This is a huge issue I have with Jedi.
Right.
Like that is not that's boring. Like I liked Luke up until like Return of the Jedi. He's just like too stoned. He's kind of bored. It's like man, he's such a
but it's a reoccurring pattern of the Jedi. You get to this level.
It just
sucks that as you get more powerful,
that
you
was
get really boring.
Established as like a thing. Like I see this in Kurosawa films also. You have like the really skilled warrior who's very stoic, but they're never like the main character, you know? There's always like another character with them. And I'm happy that there's an ensemble going on, you know, Sabine Wren and Hugh Yang.
Right.
But like, I don't know. It's
what are your thoughts, Elijah, on the stoicness of the Jedi? By the time they get to an experience level of so high,
I don't know. Yoda's super old, and he's like, "Give me a granola bar."
And he's the one example that isn't boring.
That was just part of like fooling Luke.
Yeah, just
like once he figures out, he becomes the stoic.
He's like acting up.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. He becomes the stoic Jedi.
But again, that's the epitome of going through the journey and becoming the master at the end of your masterhood.
I kind of get what you're saying. I guess I never really, until you said that, like I never really put that together.
Right.
No, it's just like
that's where Ahsoka
more inherently like part of you're a master. You're gonna carry yourself differently, that type of thing. Versus, oh no, you get really boring and stoic, and you talk slowly, and you know.
But here's where
part of being like a Jedi master is being a boring person.
I mean, Luke was kind of cool, and I mean, he was still a little cool in Jedi, like you know.
Ahsoka,
but he was like a lot. It was like a huge shift in his character,
right? For sure, from like the
like,
whiny. I want to go to Tashi Station.
So here's where I'm going to point out to you and where I think it's going. Ahsoka has gone through a series of phases. She left the Jedi Order.
Now she's dead.
Now she's dead. But her connection with Anakin was the one true connection with her master that made her happy, that made her, you know, be more alert, just be everything. And I feel that what we're going to see in the coming week of the World Between Worlds, which I'm guessing this whole episode is, or at least a great deal of the episode is going to be there, because Dave Filoni's directing it. I feel like we are going to see Ahsoka smile a hell of a lot more and learn to be happy.
You think we're going to be in that
I think she's going to,
like the whole episode?
I don't know if we'll cut back or anything like that. I mean, they're probably going to do a B story, because it'd be weird to have just an A story all the way through. But if they do this A story, which is the World Between Worlds, and we do get enough time in there, I think we're going to see Ahsoka come out to be almost like she was when she was younger. And I think we'll see this contrast of why she was so stoic since The Mandalorian onwards to a different Ahsoka who is a bit more.
Yeah, let's hope we get an explanation.
I feel like that's going to be. That's my guess. That's my guess.
I think I want her to address is to Anakin, because after all these years,
I think it's the best episode of Star Wars ever. Sorry.
She hasn't seen him in years. I'd like her to bring up the fact, like, so I heard you killed like 30 younglings, dude. How do you think he would explain that to her? I would
left your twins on different planets and didn't talk to your son for 18 years. And
forgiveness is a Jedi trait.
Killed a bunch of people.
Forgiveness is a Jedi trait.
So apparently, like,
yeah, I know. Shut up. Yeah.
He's pretty
Ahsoka.
He's pretty much worse than Jeffrey Dahmer.
Okay, but remember, Anakin is now dead. Oh, correction, Vader is now dead because Vader in Kenobi, Anakin specifically said Vader killed Anakin. So Anakin was killed by Vader. So we're no longer dealing with with Vader. We're dealing with Anakin. Oh, shut up. We are dealing with Anakin at this point.
All right.
Before Vader's personality took over.
I know that. I just love to see, like, Hayden Christensen's Anakin have to explain and justify.
He can do it just a smile. That's all he has to do is just a single smile.
Brent, I just want to see Hayden Christensen's Anakin have to explain and justify his choices. That's what I'd like to see.
By the way, side note here from the Clone Wars, the top image from the Clone Wars was the last time Ahsoka ever had her moment with Anakin, seeing Anakin, and the bottom there is the first time that she'd seen him again since that moment in time. So because that episode of Clone Wars took place literally at the same timeline as episode 3.
Anchorman, we talked about this. Force ghosts in this realm would just appear solid. So.
Yeah, we were theorizing that. We assume if this is Anakin as a Force ghost, then yes.
Anyone else would show up there, who've been dead, they just appear to be solid.
What it doesn't answer is what he's doing actually in that realm itself. And the one thing it's missing from that...
Or is it even him? Or is it just like a projection of him through her?
We don't know.
We don't know.
But the one thing that is missing in that World Between Worlds image was there were these portals all over the place, like windows into different time periods, and those windows allowed you to see in and be an observer as to what was happening on the other side. When Ezra Bridger was there, he didn't realize this and what it meant, so he accidentally stepped in and grabbed Ahsoka out and pulled her out of a pivotal moment.
Ezra's an idiot.
Ezra didn't know, and the reality was he was given a choice too in that.
I just gotta say, regardless of whoever he is, whatever's going on in this episode, the one thing we know for sure is that Hayden Christensen is reprising his role as Anakin Skywalker.
I know.
That's what we're excited about.
That was exactly. Chris, I saw that you managed to get yourself tickets to go to see the theater screening of Ahsoka episode. I think it was episode 4 and 5. Or was it just episode 5 that they're releasing? I missed out altogether. There was tickets available, and there was only one theater in Los Angeles, and fat chance of getting... I was working that day too, so I literally missed that window of trying to get seats in there.
What theater?
I think it was at the Grove, actually. It was playing just in one theater only, and they're playing it in like 10 theaters across the country, and they're playing the episodes on the big screen. Oh, just 5, was it? Oh, wow.
The Grove. Yeah. Yuck.
I know, but still, it's like I would give anything to watch every Mandalorian episode and every Ahsoka episode and every Star Wars episode on the big screen at least once. That'd be amazing. I still think they should do it, like, a few months later, just re-release them on a quiet day when there's nothing going on in the theater for a week and just release them. Anyway,
I think they should do that all the time. I think they should do more of that. I mean, they're doing it more than they used to.
Hey there, how's it going? Josiah? Is it? Yeah. Join the epic verse? Okay. Sorry, Elijah?
I'm just saying I'd like to see them release more films in the theater, like, more often. That's all.
Oh, yeah, I agree too, yeah. I'd like to see episode 3 on the big screen again, as much as...
Ezra's not going to show up. He's only in the IMDb because of the hologram.
Does Ezra... What do you mean by is Ezra gone? What do you mean by gone there, Anchorman?
He's gone. He's dead.
Gone as in, like, dead, or gone as in, like... He's in the other galaxy with Thrawn.
Thrawn bested him.
Gone as in he's turned to the dark side.
Thrawn bested him in hand-to-hand combat.
Sure. Yeah. Also, another note I wanted to point out. This is what Dave Filoni has said about the World Between Worlds, because people keep thinking and calling it time travel, it's not about time travel. It is a place where everything comes together. Everything is occurring at the same time, basically. It is not just a place of gateways and doorways. It's not just a place of gateways and doorways that you can go in and out of. It's really there as an observation deck, in my opinion.
You can still interact with them, though.
You can, but I think it becomes a choice, a moral choice. Palpatine wanted to get into the world between worlds in Rebels, and he almost got through. So he was aware that the world between worlds existed, but because if an evil person going through is going to do evil things, and they're going to try to change things. But someone with restraint, like a Jedi, the idea is it's there as an observation deck. It's there to observe the future, the past, everything all at once. And so that's what I kind of always understood the world between worlds between. So whenever someone says it's time travel, no, it's really not.
What is the point of them then?
What's the point of prophecy? What's the point of observing prophecy throughout life? This is a prophecy door. This is a place where prophecy can be made.
But as far as prophecies go in Star Wars, it doesn't really do much.
All
it leads to is death.
Yeah,
death of people.
Yeah, you're right.
And like nothing came positive out of any prophecy in the Star Wars universe that I could recall.
Sure.
It all just ends up going to shit anyways. So then, like, what is the whole point of that? You know?
Yeah, I mean, what's the point of prophecies throughout our own history? People try to prophesize things. They think they have a vision of something, and someone's always trying to put something to it. In this case,
the use of prophecies within the Star Wars, story and canon are just to push stories forward.
Sure, absolutely.
But
now a place is being created where the prophecies could be visualized if you chose to visualize and chose to
and that comes to being fun to watch.
Yeah. Oh, totally. But it's also a different version.
So you could peek in and be like, "Oh my god, it's crazy seeing all types of stuff."
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
But then you see things thousands of years in the future, because they even used stuff that with Rey from in Star Wars Rebels. There was scenes with Rey speaking. You only heard her voice. It was only this echo of voices.
They needed to, that's the whole thing about like when you have all these different things happening, you want to kind of find an excuse to combine them all together.
Yeah. But there's also this element of spirituality. This is a spiritual place. So
how do you define this is like still just a device for them connecting the world and like making like a thread that connects everything to everything that's come before, everything that's before. And,
absolutely.
It became that physical realm where you could physically see it.
Yeah. And that's cool, in my opinion.
My opinion, but I mean, it's great to see, and that's that's a cool concept. To introduce to Star Wars, because you could see firsthand.
All right, Malloy, thanks for joining us.
Later, Malloy, pretty straightforward. The connective tissue, like visually see the connective tissue of everything. Yeah.
Well, it was apparent with everybody's reactions. I checked, other YouTubers' reactions. Anakin appearing in the big screen was a very emotional thing, especially I was emotionally attached to that moment. That a lot of people just still connect and resonate with the Anakin Skywalker character, especially people who are in their 20s and early 30s, because again,
great.
they were the kids when the prequels came out, and it's awesome to see that generational arc has continued to be passed on, even though people of older descent decided that the prequels were not something for them. No, I'm just saying, but there are many people.
We don't need to argue about the prequels because people still love them.
People still love them. People still hate them. Yeah.
The bigger thing is that we find, we've been introduced to live action Ahsoka, and we finally get to see her interacting with a live action Anakin. And
I know
that's huge.
That is
if anything, that's bigger than just Christian Haydenson himself, because we got to see him in Obi-Wan. Mm-hmm. He got to reprise his role as Anakin already, but to see him and her together, it was huge.
Could you just imagine if we got the big three together in something?
Yeah, how do you think they'd be able to do that? Maybe this in the world between worlds they could.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see
Obi-Wan. But this is the main device of that realm.
Yeah,
it's like a fan service dimension.
But But here's the thing, though: if Ahsoka is in this realm, then there is a trial. It is the hero's trial, and it feels like that there is. It happens with every spiritual journey for the person who's gone as high as they can reach. They end up in this place where they have to go on a trial to either succeed or fail. They're either going to die or live on, and this is the moment for Ahsoka where this trial is going to be. I feel like.
So
it's just my guess, and this is just going purely from other.
So when every
journeys
so when every Jedi is killed, do they wake up here?
I doubt it. The idea of the Force is they covered it in a 4-part episode with Yoda and the Force in the Clone Wars, and there's this element of they didn't even know about Force ghosts before Qui-Gon Jinn, and Qui-Gon Jinn was the first one to reach out from beyond.
Oh, yeah, they said that they established that in a single line at the end of
the prequels. Yeah,
Revenge of the Sith, just so. To explain the Force Ghost stuff.
Exactly, yeah. It hasn't come before. It started at that point. I know, yeah. I felt like there's something that would have gone on for generations of Jedi. Obviously not.
No,
so...
I'm sure that a Jedi has done that before.
Yeah.
And a Jedi has been capable of doing that before.
The hero's journey or the hero's journey. Absolutely.
It's just that this generation of Jedi finally found out that Qui-Gon did it,
Right. Yeah.
Like, this is an ancient order. Like, I doubt that Qui-Gon's the first one to do it.
No, it probably isn't. In fact, that's why I say that this world between worlds was created or was forged millennia ago. I feel like this is an ancient piece of technology of old Jedi build. This might even date back to.
This has always been existing. It's just like Jedi have attached themselves spiritually to the universe that they were able to create some type of architecture in this realm.
Exactly. Yes. Correct.
So my guess is like every Jedi has to go through this when they die, and
really,
then they go through the trial.
Every Jedi. Maybe they don't.
That's what makes sense based on what we've seen now. Well, that seems pretty established. Right?
Yeah, but as I said, the only reason the world between worlds
the only Jedi's that count.
Oh no! The world between worlds connects to the Mortis connection arc, which is back from the Clone Wars, where Ahsoka died in the Mortis arc. And here's the one thing that did surprise me. So throughout the series, the animated shows of Rebels and Clone Wars, after Ahsoka had died, there was a bird called Morai, which is flying around following her. That was the entity of the daughter who resurrected Ahsoka in the Mortis story. So we always got that this basically is her. It was the same coloring. It was the same.
Right, the bird that was in the Mandalorian or whatever.
And we see the bird in the Mandalorian in one scene. I was really surprised we never saw that bird. When we got the aerial shot, where they did the beautiful aerial shot over the temple, the Night Sister temple, and then it goes over the ocean, we see Ahsoka. I'm surprised we didn't see the bird there. And
yeah, that's true. They haven't shown that once.
The only reason we wouldn't have seen the bird there is because it would have been Morai, or the spirit of the daughter, that is the one that sent Ahsoka to this realm. So I don't think this is a place that normal Jedi would be entering unless they had some sort of additional help. And I feel like that Morai and the idea of the daughter is the one thing that...
So it's like purgatory. She's not dead, but she's floating around. How are they going to... Her body's going to be laying on the ground? She's going to be dead?
We don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
She might be in the ocean. We don't know.
That's what I was asking in on our last reaction. It's like, so... How does time work? This?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there is I mean, again, going from what we saw in Rebels, there is a linear time. So whatever time Ezra Bridger spent inside the world between worlds, time was passing at the same rate outside in the real world, is what I could understand. But I don't know if that's defined specifically by events or whatever. Maybe it is a second of time where she's in the water and drowning.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe it's something different. And then there's also this thing, and this goes to Superman, the Christopher Reeve Superman. It goes to this moment of transition for me, is when we see Clark Kent standing there on the ice peak and he's talking to his father, and then we see the crystal face and the head, and it spins around. And then it forges, and it becomes, and then he's in his Superman uniform, and he flies for the first time.
Right.
It feels like we might be. I feel like that is a moment of what we might be getting. This element of transformation between one thing and the next, and I feel like that could be a powerful moment too in the episode if that's the direction that Dave Filoni takes it. So whatever Ahsoka becomes from this point on could be forged from a moment of, I'm going to guess, a moment of trial, that she will be on a trial for that ascension.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
That's interesting. And then good theory. That's. I mean, obviously, all the story, but I could, that's good. I can see that happening.
Yeah, that's where it feels like it has to go. Anyway, that's and again, going on past stories where you've got stories like this from other films and other genres. There is a trial for the hero. I saw it in Thundercats. Lion-O had to go on a trial very similar to this to a certain degree.
So in this world between worlds, are we going to see are they going to be looking at portals and we're going to see past?
I don't know. Again, we haven't seen that.
That's what I'm excited to see, if they're going to do that.
Well, that's why when everyone was talking at that very moment when she entered and I realized where she was, I was quiet, because I know that you could hear. They did it in Rebels where they played scenes from different movies. You heard Obi-Wan Kenobi from A New Hope, which is Alec Guinness's voice speaking, and it was just these moments of voices that were coming throughout all the periods. You'd hear Princess Leia saying something from A New Hope, and then it would jump to Rey saying something, and then it was had all.
What I was leading to is hopefully maybe some live action Clone Wars stuff, flashbacks.
I really hope so.
That's what I want to see.
That's what people are predicting and guessing, and they want to see a flashback. And I think this is what will make Ahsoka smile again. I think we'll see a transition between stoic Ahsoka.
Well, I don't care what she'll do. I just want to see a flashback.
I would love to see a Clone Wars flashback.
So you're saying it her smiling is going to fix everything? It's
going
to be more than that, Brent.
Suck to ask a very interesting question. Do you think Ahsoka will come back just when Thrawn arrives? That's a very interesting question. It probably, but here's the thing. We don't know how long it's going to take for them to get Thrawn back. Does he come back next week's episode? Is that the B story?
It's going to be one scene at the very end of the show.
Yeah.
They did just take off, so...
They did just take off. I guess there'll be a period of time. They're going to have to cover some sort of time in the other galaxy, I'm going to guess. So, do we even see Ahsoka between now and the end of the show is the question. I mean,
if they show a different galaxy in Star Wars, I think that would be weird. I don't want to see that, to be honest. Let them go and come back. It would be weird to see a completely different galaxy outside of the Star Wars galaxy. It would have to look completely different to make it sell that it's a completely different galaxy.
I mean, this isn't Rick and Morty. It's just going to look like more space, right?
Yeah, it's just going to be another planet. I mean, it's a long time ago in a galaxies far, far away.
Over here, blue is yellow.
I guess.
Okay, 1 second. So, random question, Brent. Have you ever had a friend or family member who's not into things like you are about, we are about sports? In the sense of my brothers are into Star Wars. My brothers are okay with sports. They're not hugely into sports.
You watch rugby?
But do they what?
You watch rugby?
Rugby? Occasionally they'll watch it just to be social. I just purely am not. Yeah. But when it comes to my mates. But when it comes to something like Star Wars, I've got two younger brothers. The youngest brother enjoys it, but he's not as fanatical. But the middle brother and myself, we both are about the same fanaticalness. We grew up just loving all the toys and stuff when we were kids, and he's passing it on to his kids now and stuff like that. So,
as a human living in this world, it's pretty hard to find someone who doesn't like Star Wars.
Sure, right. Yeah. And then if people don't like it, that's also fine. Or if they've never watched it, that's fine.
If anything, it's just they don't think about it as much as
It's not part of their immediate thing. As sports are not part of my immediate attention, So, yeah. Anyway, guys, we'll probably end this up pretty soon at this point. But, episode 3 and 4, I've been loving the build-up of Ahsoka. I'm enjoying it. I may have more of a connection to it because I know the full backstory of everything than anybody.
All right, gatekeeper.
But I'm trying to at least express and put forward the information I know. So as
I'm enjoying it better than you guys. I'm
watching it harder. I can help to fill in gaps. Is the question, But the question is, Elijah, you knowing the least amount as you've been watching it,
right.
because you couldn't watch the reaction with us the other night, what was your thoughts on episode 4?
It was okay. I mean, just listening to you kind of explain all that stuff made me get more out of it. I mean, it was an okay episode.
Okay.
I liked what was going on. I mean, it was bit of the chase, like the robot fight, the whole fight at the end and all that stuff. I wasn't expecting her to fall off to her death.
Right.
I wasn't expecting to see this purgatory world or whatever. Mm-hmm. I wasn't expecting any of that. So
right.
But it's kind of weird they're doing that now in the middle of the season. It's
well, that's the thing. I mean, as a fan of Star Wars, but not following everything, was it just confusing?
A little confusing. A little confusing.
Okay.
It didn't clearly, they didn't clearly show the shot like you should anyways. She falls off. They didn't really show her fall. They didn't show where she goes. They didn't show any of that.
Yeah.
So that just kind of that, even if it was a quick shot of something to tell your brain, okay,
like hitting the water at least.
You needed more connection as
anything. Yeah. Okay. So for her just to wake up and that, I mean, I've seen the Rebels version, of that Purgatory Land, so I'm at least familiar with it, and I didn't connect together. Is she dead? Is she floating her force self up before she hits the ground or something? I don't know. She's just in this alternate world,
Yeah, they do leave it kind of open like that, a little bit too open.
Yeah, fair enough. This era,
and it was just a smile. It was just a smile. It was say something.
Well, that's the thing. She smiled. She hasn't done that through the whole show, so that's got to mean something.
I'm talking about Anakin. I'm here to rescue you, or whatever. Something.
Yeah, sure.
Something other than just a smile. It's now we got to wait a whole week for them to
I'm fine with waiting the week, but I can't wait to see it at the same time. This era of Star Wars is perfectly poised to lead us into new galaxies, realities, and new characters. I agree. I think that's kind of a fun thing. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm excited. You met Dean Cain? What's that like? Ew.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I commend you. You went to the convention this weekend, right? Yeah,
that's cool.
That's cool.
What's exciting about Ahsoka right now is just I have no idea what's gonna happen next. We could all predict, but then it's all it's all so unpredictable right now. It's I don't know where they could go from here.
Yeah,
right.
And I like that Sabine is tempted. It's good stuff.
Oh yeah, that's
nice to see someone tempted in Star Wars again.
I never actually really saw that coming. I mean, the fact that she kind of joined. Well, you shouldn't join them by choice, but the fact that she made those choices, and you know what, just that one last thing I was thinking of. I wanted to touch base on was where's that image? Damn it!
You just put a picture of the ring, and I gotta say, that ring looks sick.
The ring is awesome.
It's just a ring.
Some of the shots coming through the clouds and stuff were gorgeous.
Yeah, but that ring, just sitting there, the one that you had just at the right before that.
Oh yeah,
great shot, dude.
Oh yeah,
great design.
Yeah,
that's some cool Star Wars.
Giant hyperspace ring for a giant Star Destroyer.
You can see the scale because that's Morgan's ship right up there. That little bit right there is her ship.
Totally.
So you can see the scale.
Yeah.
It looks like a Morbius.
Just that one moment, by the way. I feared for Carson's life when that ship went into hyperspace, when the Eye of Sion went into hyperspace there. I thought it was oh shit, they're gonna kill him off now. Every time we see Carson, I think they're gonna kill him off.
No, dude, they got an Herodian, they got a Greedo dude there. He's
of course, yeah.
There's three other people who didn't have names that die.
But there was one person who did survive. If you noticed in the credits, there was somebody credited as one of the pilots, and it actually is the actor, one of the actors who plays Mando in The Mandalorian. Wait a sec. Oh, why have I got another
one of his stunt guys?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. It's nice to finally get to show his face.
Why have I completely gone mental block on his name? Hang on a second. No. No, not Pedro Pascal. It was.
We believe you, dude.
Yes, I know. I just
the stunt guys. I know. One of the two stunt guys.
Yes.
Brendan Wayne.
Latif. Yeah. Yes, Brendan Wayne. Thank you. Yes.
Thanks, Chris. Oh god.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you, Chris. I need someone to grab it closer than I would. My brain just went Fuzzle on that. On his name for a second. Yeah, Brendan Wayne, who actually is.
So he's got some plot armor, I guess. Or...
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess so. It was kind of fun to see him out of costume because we never see him out of costume.
Do you think Carson will die soon?
Do I think Carson will die soon? I don't know.
Would that be a good use of his character? Is what I'm saying.
If they kill him off, they'll kill him off in a heroic moment, or he may become the next Wedge Antilles who lives forever.
Yeah.
That would be nice too. You know.
Oh yeah, it'd be.
But like, that's something to consider when you introduce a character.
Sure.
They're at risk of dying, especially an X-wing pilot, because that's what they mostly do.
You're gonna fly and die.
Yeah. Except for Wedge Antilles, who survived to the end. I mean,
except for Wedge, but that's what most X-wing fighters die.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And you can have names too, and you can be a best friend with the main character.
If they kill him off, they'll kill him off right at the end. Whenever they lead up to this movie, and if it is a movie about Thrawn entering and becoming the main villain and the Empire's absolutely.
Right? When's that coming back?
Yeah. But anyway, okay, guys, I think we've gone on long enough here. So thanks for joining us, and we'll be on Jason's podcast on Wednesday evening. We'll be dropping our reaction to episode 5 on Tuesday night, and anything else you want to add there?
No.
Nope.
No. See you guys on Wednesday, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Thanks, guys. We will see you then. Alrighty.
Pick another target, military target.
Detonate.